And he goes, I seen that F-250 sitting out front, and we ended up staying late, and I sold his son an F-250. So I sold 9 cars in one day, technically. And, well, technically I sold 8. The deal didn't close on the 250 until that morning, but in one sitting. So I sold more cars in one day than their best salesman did in a month.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are back with another episode of Stance 101, except this time we're doing a little bit of a different scenario. We got the man here who needs absolutely no introduction, but we're gonna go ahead and let him do his thing. So tell us about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Who I am? My name is Rob Pitts. A lot of people know me on the internets as Rabbit. I buy and sell collector cars for a living. Do YouTube, got about 250 million views on there the last few years. Something like that. Yeah. And got a few of them play buttons. And, you know, I tell you, just a Greenville guy, been here, born and raised, you know, and doing my thing. I filmed a show for Netflix this past summer. It's like, you know, I joke with my car dealer buddies all the time, and it's about a 50-50. Either they love me or they hate me.
Oh, yeah.
So the ones that hate me, though, still call me because they need me.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll call me and they're like, well, you think you're hot shit. You know, you did a TV show. I said, I'm so good at my fucking job, they put it on TV. That's why.
They're like, we hate you, but by the way, I do need this car sourced.
Yeah, exactly. Can you put your hands on that?
Yeah.
Don't worry, Daddy got you. You know?
So you go by Rabbit, Rabbit's Used Car Garage. That's his plug. What is your Instagram and YouTube channel called?
Rob_Pitts on Instagram. YouTube, hell, I'll be honest with you, type fucking Rob, it'll pull me up. Or Rabbit.
Hey, there you go. That's a flex.
That's the easiest thing, you know.
All right, so tell us, where did the name Rabbit come from? Where did that come about? I know there's got to be some kind of cool story with it.
There is.
Okay.
There's always a cool story with it.
Always.
You know, nicknames are funny. You know, you don't get to pick them.
They pick
I mean, obviously, I would have came up with something way cooler than Rabbit if I was going to come up with my own nickname. And I didn't realize I'd be living by that name, you know. So back in 2006, 2005 was a really wild year for me. So 2005, I was permanently banned from life from eBay. And and that's a story in itself.
Yeah, we'll touch back on
I was selling hundreds of cars on eBay, you know, literally every year. And then it went from that to, guess what? You can't play here no more. And they cut me off. Well, I had to get a job, you know? I mean, and I said, well, hell, I'm a salesman, sell cars. Yeah. So I went to work at D&D Ford in Greer. Okay. You know, back then, the original owner was still running it, George Davenport. Skip, his son, does now. But anyway, and I walk into the dealership, they didn't know me from anybody. And I said, hey, I'm good at selling cars. He goes, well, we're always looking for salesmen because there's extremely high turnover in car sales like that. And
it's not cut off for everybody.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's not for the faint of heart. And so he comes in, he goes, hell, sound like you know what you need to do. This is our best salesman right here. I want you to follow him around. He sells 9 cars a month. Which you gotta understand, D&D Ford is a very small Ford, back then was extremely small Ford dealership, it's a little bigger now. And so 9 cars a month, you know, think about it, if you got 10 salesmen on the floor, that's a lot of cars for them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So anyway, so they put me in the mix with this guy. And this guy was so funny because he hadn't made any money this month. He was actually leaving to get a title loan. And I'm thinking, boy, this is the place I'm coming to work. Oh, yeah. So he could pay his mortgage. Yeah, like, this is the guy I want to be listening to. So anyway, he showed me the paperwork and what we needed to do, you know, all the different things, customer surveys, AKA credit app, you know, all the bullshit. And so I took every piece of paper he gave me and I put them in a stack and stapled them together. That way I had like a cheat sheet. Yeah. And I had my little business cards that were blank, and you wrote your name, you know, and your phone number, you know, and that's all I do. Hell, he left to go get a title loan. He was gone for the rest of the day. This is about 12 o'clock on a Wednesday, which Wednesdays at new car dealerships are generally just dead days. Nothing's going on. So anyway, I'm sitting there filling out my little business cards. I'm like, fuck, this sucks. So I walk outside and smoke a cigarette, you know, just kind of walking around. I got my little lockbox key. I'm over here, you know, damn, it works. And
just doing stuff to make
just you know what I'm saying. And a guy pulls up in a gold F-150, and he was an older gentleman, and his name was Gary. And you know, so Gary comes out and pulls up and looks at a brand new King Ranch truck. It was black, jet black. And he gets out and he's looking at it. I said, let me open that thing up for you, bud. You know, we're super salesman.
Yeah.
Beep, beep. Open the door and all that saddle leather and all stuff. He said, man, this thing's nice. well, you know, saying, King Ranch, that's top of the line, you know? And he said, yeah. He goes, there's only one thing. He said, I'm in construction. And he said, I can't drive a black truck. He said, this thing will be filthy instantly. And I said, well, I said, tell you what, we probably can find you another color. I said, hell, let's just drive this one. I didn't know what the test drive route was. I didn't know any of that protocol yet. Hell, we just hop in and leave. So we're riding around, and they were building a Walgreens on the corner right there on Wade Hampton Boulevard at the time. They just paved the parking lot and put the lines in it. It wasn't even open yet. And they had the lights on, the light pole, you know, the light poles. So it was during the day, but the lights were on. And I pulled that F-150 and they just parked it right on the line so you can see the reflection of the lines inside of it. And this thing, it's perfect, you know? And he goes, man, that thing's gorgeous. And I said, I'm telling you, there's something about a black vehicle. They just stand out. And I said, you got to think about it. No matter what car they make, they're always going to make a black one. The end. And I said, there's a reason for that, because it works. And he goes, yeah, but he said, man, this thing's going to stay dirty. And I said, you don't have running water at your house? You know, I mean, wash it, you know? I mean, you know, you wipe your ass every damn time you take a shit, you know? I mean, I basically told him that. Well, I got him laughing a little bit and joking around. And he said, well, what do you do for fun? I said, I do stand-up comedy. He goes, really? He said, tell me a joke. And I said, hell, build me a fucking house, you know? Don't put me on the spot like that. Gary. Damn, I mean, we're on a test drive. And we were trying to make some money. I can't got time to be funny. So anyway, we laughed, we cut up, and he goes, what kind of deal can you cut me on this truck? And I said, we can get you this one. You know, if we had to call another dealership, try to find another color and all this stuff and have to wait, or we can just say this one and get right on the money. So I go to the little, you know, new car manager, and he tells me the best deal they can do. And I walk back in my office and put it down. He goes, hell, I reckon I'll take it. And he goes, and I mean, I had been there 20 minutes at this point, maybe 30. Well, his wife comes pulling up to help get the stuff out of his truck. And she's driving, he was driving like a gold F-150. She come pulling up in a gold Explorer. She said, Gary, you know we always have matching cars. Oh, no. So he bought her a black Eddie Bauer Explorer while he was there. And then he said, you know, Rob, he goes, yeah, I was thinking about it. He said, we bought a fleet of Dodge trucks, 6 of them, from the local Dodge dealership. He said, man, we've had them 2 years. Those things are beat to death. And he said, I'm just not really happy with them. And he goes, I had Fords before, and he said, I liked them. I sold him 6 fleet Ford trucks right after that. Oh, sales manager's going ape shit at this point.
Oh, I bet.
So keep in mind, let me stop there to go here. This is where the name came from. So they had a dry erase board, and you wrote Salesman, stock number, you know, all that stuff, trade in, whatever, you know, on this dry erase board. Well, I was writing Robert so many times up there. I mean, I'm running at this point. And I mean, I've got people pulling cars around. I mean, these things are just lined up out front. He just keeps buying shit. And I mean, just one random ass old man. And I'm over here, he was writing, well, George Davenport, the man that owned the Indy Ford, he was a Golden Glove boxer back in the day. And this poor man had been beat in the head so many damn times. Mush mouth, cauliflower ear. Oh, man. But he's big, stocky. I mean, he'd whoop your ass. He's a big guy
big
still.
Boy.
He walked in, he's wearing a suit. He always wore pinstripe suits like old gangster.
Oh, yeah.
And he walked in, he goes, and I've never met him before. I didn't even know who he was then. He walks in, and he goes, who the hell's Rabbit? Because I was writing Robert so sloppy up there.
Oh, yeah.
So it ended up, and then his son came in right at 6 o'clock to help drive some of these damn trucks back to their place. Jesus. And he goes, I seen that F-250 sitting out front, and we ended up staying late, and I sold his son an F-250. So I sold 9 cars in one day, technically. And, well, technically I sold 8. The deal didn't close on the 250 until that morning, but in one sitting. So I sold more cars in one day than their best salesman did in a month, or the same amount. And they go, Lord. So that next morning, we have a sales meeting every morning in new car sales. And we're sitting in a sales meeting. Needless to say, I was the talk of the dealership. I was getting that motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know, lucky.
New kid on town.
Yeah, bullshit. You know, they've never seen me before. And then I was the guy, because most of them were off on a Wednesday. So they come in, and they're like, who's this guy? You know, he's the one that sold 9 cars yesterday. You meet the guy that's going to destroy you. and needless to say, so, yeah, we had the little glass front offices. And that's when I got my office. And I remember when we walked out of the sales meeting, they painted on the office, Rob the Rabbit Pitts. And that was painted. Okay. You're the guy that marks the windshield.
Yeah.
He just came in there and it stuck. And that's how they knew me. You know, I worked at the Ford store for about 1.5 years. This is right before 2008 when all the economy crashed. I seen the writing on the wall. I got the fuck out of there. And you know, I went to pursue some other things, and glad I did, because I would fucking starve to death if I didn't. And you know, so that name kind of got forgotten about. You know, it was funny. It was at the dealership and all that stuff. And then I told that story on YouTube. And then everybody's like, it ain't Rob no more. It's Rabbit.
It's clicked. Yeah,
and now it's
clicked.
come back, and it's you know, so it's one of those things. Like I said, you'll get to pick your nickname.
Yeah,
but
it picks you.
it does. So there's worse things. I'm not gonna be tiny or something.
No, that was actually okay. I was expecting a cool story. That's a cool story. Yeah, I feel like I need to go buy an F-250 right now. Like I just got sold on buying a truck, and I'm not even there. That's insane.
That's how we work.
So needless to say, you knew at that point, you were like, okay, I was born to be a salesman.
Oh, I knew way before that.
Oh, you knew way before that.
Yeah,
okay.
you know, that was the thing. I've done a billion of these things, and you get people asking you, like, when did you know you want to be in sales? You got to think, I got a referral in the 6th grade for selling candy. I sold cigarettes in high school.
Oh, you were just
I literally sold my first car when I was 16 years old in high school. It was a 79 Ford Mustang. And, you know, and that was the thing. Like, I like playing with cars. I love that hustle. I love to constantly do that. And nobody in my family was like, I bet your daddy was a good salesman or something. No, nobody in my family. It's just me.
You. Yeah.
And I just like to hustle. I like to work for myself. That's the reason what got me in the eBay stuff, and that's what got me into, you know, new car sales, and then that's what got me hell into this, you know, and selling cars all through the years. I mean, I've always, even when I wasn't a car dealer, before that, I would always have a car too that I'd buy or play. I'd play with it for a little bit, I'd sell it, you know. Like, you have to scratch that itch. I mean, I was in Texas for 4 months. I shut the doors on my place and we went and filmed the Netflix show. And I was in Texas for 4 months. And I bought and sold 2 cars while I was there because, and keep in mind, I'm filming 60 hours a week because it's like a drug. It's like, I need to sell something. You know, like I need to buy something. Man, that's the deal. I'm gonna buy it.
You're constantly working. So
yeah, and it's like that's what I did for everybody else. You know, went to the club. I'm like over here. I'm like, I'm gonna check this blazer out.
Yeah,
it's
like spending, you're making.
Exactly. I can't. I mean, and that was the thing. You know, we were joking around. You know, because everybody there was filming. You know, they all came in from different places. And, you know, they all bought like some, you know, just a little run around or something. And he's like, you drove for free and made money the whole time you were here. I'm like, that's what I do. I mean, I can't help it. I can't turn it off.
It's part of who you are.
Exactly.
So, okay, so you knew for a very long time that you were going to be a salesman. So when, I guess, how did the shop come about? Like what brought you to the point where you were like, okay, I sold at a dealership, but working on my own for a little bit. So what created Rob's used car dealership? Like, what made that place where's it at right now, Greenville?
Well,
Greenville?
It's in Greenville. We're moving it to Seneca now.
Right, but where did that one start? How did that one come about?
So, actually really funny, and it's funny that you say it like that. So I literally just got off the phone with my merch guy, you know, and he runs all RUC merchandise. And he goes, you know, Rob, you're getting pretty popular on YouTube. He goes, you know, we need to do a shirt. And he said, we need to do a shirt. And I'm like, yeah, we'll do a t-shirt. You know, we'll print 100 of them or something like that. So we sold them like an hour, 100 of them.
Jesus.
And the thing that was funny is the logo. So we all know Robert Oderod, Robert Pettit. He designed this logo. And he goes, what do you want for a logo? And I said, well, it needs to be Rabbits used cars or something like. We wanted the cheesiest used car lot, sleazy. The cheesier the better. And so he had 2. And they both were similar, but one had a cartoon rabbit and one had my face on it, smiling like that. And he goes, and I got this one. And he goes, and I'm like, I fucking love it. He said, I know you would. And now Robert, you know, because we're opening a wrap shop now too, and he's running that.
Okay.
And he's like, you know, I never realized that stupid damn logo I made a few years ago, how much I'd be staring at that.
All the time.
He said, your smiling face just looking at me, like it's torture for me, you know?
That's
like,
crazy.
why do I have to show you that logo?
That's
you know, and, but he, as he's making the signs for the new building now, he's like, I mean, the new sign's 16 foot tall. And he goes, you realize your head's over 3.5 foot tall in that damn sign. He said, it's almost to scale, you know? And he goes, it's like, he said, that shit-eating grin. I'm just sitting there looking at it like, asshole.
Yeah, as he's swiping it down, heating it up, he's just like,
why? Like, I created this. But, so we did this logo, we put it on a t-shirt. Like I said, we sold 100 like that. And then we started, you know, moving on to other merch and all this stuff. Well, now we have a t-shirt for a car lot that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know? So I haven't had my dealer's license in a few years, and I'm like, you know, And I was just, backyard hustling, and I had, a diesel truck shop, and we had the radio show and event company. So I need one more thing to do. So I said, you know what? I want to get in collector car sales. And we started buying a few cars up, and that's moved to, 2 or 3, moved to 4 or 5, 4 or 5's moved to, now we keep about 20 in stock. And everything from, mainly 20-year back, which we got a 23 Corvette now in stock. It was pretty bad when Chevrolet place don't have one, but the RUC
It was the blue
does.
one, right?
Yes.
See, I remember about a month and a half ago, us guys, we came to the shop and we seen a couple of the cars, and the place is sick, by the way, so I'm sure the new place is going to be even cooler.
Oh, yeah.
But the old place was sick. We saw the Corvette. That was super nice. And we saw a couple other, really, really cool cars.
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy that I love messing with them. I love having the first of something. Remember the Ford Maverick trucks? Well, I had the first Ford Maverick in South Carolina. And, so we got that. And my favorite thing to do is just drive to the other dealerships. They haven't seen one yet. Be like, oh,
just flex.
You ain't got with a Rabbit's Used Cars tag on the back of it. Be like, oh, y'all haven't got yours yet?
Y'all haven't seen these? Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I've had mine for a
You
little
ain't
bit
even seen
already.
the flyer on this yet, and I'm driving it. And it's like, Ken Whitaker, they're like, yeah, we're still taking orders for 22 Vets. I've got a 23 in stock. How about that?
Yeah.
And his sales guys are coming down to my place to see what a new Corvette looks like.
God.
And I love it. It puts joy in my, how the hell did you get it? I got my ways.
Yep. I'm plugged in.
Yeah, and so it's fun having stuff like that. But we sell, like I said, we'll have some of that kind of stuff. But we also have, slammed OBS trucks, of course, 80s, 90s, rad culture, all that stuff. So we're real big into that. We got some JDM stuff kind of flowing through from time to time. I'm expanding a little bit, Of course, some old school hot rods, everything.
There's market and everything.
Well, and that's the fun thing about the car hobby. And just as good as I do. I mean, you got your stance guys. You got everybody. The internet has woven us all together, and there is an ass for every seat now. And that's the thing that's cool with this is I love the stuff you guys do, and just like you like some of the stuff I do. I can appreciate all of this, and that's the beauty of it. At the end of the day, we're just car guys.
Yeah.
We may not go exactly the same direction. It would just be boring as hell if we did, but who would we talk shit about at a car show if we didn't?
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
And that brings you into being a true car guy, because nowadays you have the guys that claim to be true car guys, but they're only just stance. But then they see something else, they're like, oh no, it's shitty, whatever. If you're a true car guy, you gotta appreciate everything. You can dislike things. There is things that I dislike, but I still understand the work that's put in towards them. I understand the passion that was put in towards them. And to be an overall car guy all around, you gotta appreciate at least everything.
Well, and you gotta look at this, and I got a few years on you guys. So, and I've been around this a little bit, and you gotta think, I come from a long line of real car guys. My grandfather, he's old school hot rodder, like 40s and 50s shit. And my dad, he was a drag racer, pro mod. So 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way into the 90s, my dad drag raced. So I grew up, and I had no choice but to be a car guy. I was around this shit my entire life. But the thing that's cool is, it's neat looking at the cars they built and the things they did. And it's cool, and I appreciate the history of it. Is that necessarily my cup of tea? Not so much. Right. I kind of got the things I'm into, and, just like you got, and that's the thing, but and as bad as I hate to admit this in an open forum, I was a Ford guy when I was in high school. I know, right? Pray for me. And I think it was drugs or something. I don't know. But anyway, it was just a weird time. The late 90s was
Everybody
just
grows
odd.
up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And but anyway, I was a Ford guy, and my dad's a diehard General Motors guy. He's a diehard Chevrolet guy, and it was like, I had a Mustang, and keep in mind, my dad was. He was older than me then when I was in high school. But the thing that was funny is I had an SN95 Mustang that was my pride and joy. Triple black GT, and we did all kinds of work to it, built it up. And at the time, I thought it was fast. Looking back.
But back then, though, things have changed. Like a 400 horsepower car back then is comparable to like an 800 horsepower street car now.
Yeah, and that's true. You got to think about it. You started with 200 horsepower.
Right, yeah.
My daily driver caddy has 479 horsepower and gets 29 miles to the gallon.
Can't beat that.
This is what I drive to the grocery store. It's
beat
faster than what I took to the drag strip when I was in high school. But what I drive to a funeral is better than, what I drive to court is faster than. But you see what I'm getting at, and way more badass, by the way. But anyway, my dad, I remember my dad. We were like brothers growing up, more than father and son. And the thing that's crazy is my dad bought a 97 SS Camaro, brand new, for one reason. My dad wasn't a Camaro guy. My dad was a pickup truck, driving to work kind of guy. But he went and bought this Camaro just to bust my ass every day. We left the house every day. I started my junior and senior year. We left the house at the same time, lived right here off Wade Hampton Boulevard, pulled right on to Wade Hampton, take a right, headed to Wade Hampton High School. My dad followed me right out in low gear the whole time, just waiting. Every day, rain, sun, didn't matter. He wouldn't give me a length. He wouldn't fucking nothing. He would bust. I started every day with an ass whooping. And the more we did with that, the more I did with that goddamn Mustang, the faster the fuck Camaro got. I don't fucking know. Like, it was crazy. Like, literally, I mean, just, like, I never forget, he missed a gear one time. He still outrun me, but like, I got a little jump on him.
You're like, this is it?
Like literally, I got a boner right there. I'm like, fuck yeah. And it's like, and then next thing I was like, But it's like, and I mean, he bought that thing. And the thing that was crazy was when I graduated high school, he sold it. He's like, fuck that thing. He just literally bought it to torture me.
He wanted to make sure that you knew what was up for those years of school. And as soon as you graduated, I was like, all right, my job's done.
And me and my dad were tight like nuts and bolts. My dad wasn't the real affectionate type. My dad was really the high school football coach, walking off, all that bullshit. And, kind of guy. And it was so funny. I remember when I bought my very first Corvette when I was 21 years old. My dad told me he loved me, I think, for the first time. He goes, and I mean, it's like, I love you, son.
That's a true grit of a man right there.
That's a moment. That's a moment.
That's insane. Okay, so I guess what I was gonna ask next is where did you find like your biggest client so far? So we got through the part where you got to the car garage, you made your name, you sold some cars. So who, at least up to this date, was your biggest client that you got, and how'd you get them?
Man, I've got some really good customers, and I like saying client. I almost feel like I don't know.
I feel you. I feel you.
Like I'm doing something sleazy. Client.
You have a loyal base though, whether it be just the fan base or the customers.
And I am, and it's funny. I'm me. I am this. Out here, camera off, whatever. I love to laugh. I love to cut up, and I think that energy just kind of, just spreads and people like it. But I mean, you gotta think about it. I've sold Camaros or collector cars. Well, I sold a Camaro to a porn star. We've sold cars to athletes. I've sold cars to singer-songwriters. As a matter of fact, one of my best customers writes songs for Kenny Chesney. I mean, and that's the thing, in Nashville. And I mean, he comes walking in my place and he's got Darius Rucker with him. I'm like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're the guy.
Wagon Wheel. I know that guy.
Yeah.
Hootie and the Blowfish. Like, that's showing my age. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that guy. And these are just, I mean, there's normal guys too. But like, you're like, yeah. So what are you doing? So, oh, I had lunch with Travis Tritt earlier, nothing big, And I'm just like, or these guys, or, I've got another buddy of mine who owns like half of North Carolina. That's a good customer of mine. And he's that guy that just wants something like, I'm just looking for something to piss my neighbors off. The HOA.
I got it, just the car.
So this is a true story. And this guy's got literally, like if I had his money, I'd just burn mine.
Yeah.
I mean, like this
guy.
guy's, like Scrooge McDuck money, and cool as shit, love him. We probably talk once a week, just talk. And he goes, dude, he said, the HOA is on my ass in my neighborhood. Now keep in mind, this guy's got like celebrities that live in his neighborhood in North Carolina. And one of them being Ric Flair, and which is hilarious.
What?
Yeah, and how I got my signed Ric Flair robe. This is because of this guy. But moving on, this guy, he goes, man, it's an HOA. He said, they're just snobby. And I'm like, the hell you say? And I mean, I'm like, I'm the kid from Trailer Park, so I'm like all about it.
What's a HOA?
Yeah, fuck
Explain that to me.
And I got a funny story about that one too. But anyway, so he said, man, I'm looking for something funny. And we had a van come in. And it's like this old 70s van, and it's kind of run down. It had like mags on it, and pretty sure somebody had been violated in the back of it at one point. And he goes, man, that van's badass. I said, I just want to park it in front of my house. So I sold it to him. And he bought it. He bought this van just to piss his HOA off.
That's how you know you got fuck you money.
He tagged it and everything, and he said, did you drive it? He said, fuck, I don't give a shit about driving it. He said, as long as it pulled in my driveway.
Oh, he tagged
just has
it
it sitting in front of this multi-million-dollar mansion. You got this $6,500 date rape van sitting out front with like rust stains running down it. And he said, I love that thing.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like,
It's like an ornament.
yeah, and then like he kept it out there for like 3 months. He's like, I guess I'll sell it. You know?
I've done my damage. Bring the property value down.
Exactly.
Just
You know what I'm saying? Like none of the neighbors are talking to me now.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. But that's, you know, that's the thing is, I think that's the appeal is that because, you know, a lot of these guys were like, you know, Carolina Stand Shop didn't fall in you guys' lap. You made this motherfucker. This is your baby. Just like RUC's mine. You know, I grew up in a damn single wide trailer in fucking Berea. And if you don't know where Berea, South Carolina is, look it up on the map. Google says it fucking sucks. And it's horrible. And it was just as shitty then as it is now. And, you know, I went from that to, you know, I moved to a very popular, I got to be so careful how I say this because I can get sued. You know, things are going good, rock and rolling. I lived in Taylor's for a little while, and I loved it. And, you know, I mean, I grew up all around through here. And I stayed there. And the girl I was dating at the time, she said, man, you need to step it up, though. She said, you know, you're doing all this stuff. You know, you don't want to just live in this old neighborhood. You want, you know, like your house you got now is all right. But, you know, you need to step it up. You need to step it. It's one of them.
Yeah,
you know?
she basically told you to get out the hood.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love a hood.
Yeah.
These are my peeps.
These are my people. You know
these
what I
are my people, you know? And so anyway, she's like, we need to go house shopping. And you know, property, this is right when all the stuff was going crazy with property value and all this. I bought my house, you know, really good price. And it was a nice home. It wasn't the hood, but it wasn't exactly this either. It was middle of the road.
Yeah,
you
nice
know?
little.
It's comfortable. And so one of the more prestigious neighborhoods in Greenville, I can't say the name of it. It's a good one off Pelham Road. I'll leave it at that.
I think I know exactly what you're talking
I
about.
have a golf course by it. I don't know. So anyway, so I bought a house in this neighborhood, and it was actually owned by a guy named Kenny Rogers. But he was a brain surgeon. Kenneth Rogers is his real name. So of course,
Dr.
naturally,
Kenneth
me is like, I bought Kenny Rogers' house. And the thing was, there was a baby grand piano inside it, and part of the deal is he had to leave the piano. He said, well, it's my daughter's, and she don't play it, she's moved out. So he left a baby grand piano, which is the only furniture I had, motherfucker. But everybody walk in and like, damn, I told you it was Kenny Rogers' house.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
They never gets played, but
I didn't know.
Here.
I didn't know Kenny Rogers lived in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm like, you know, yeah, Kenny's running through tough times, so I bought his pad, you know. But
Flex.
anyway, and we're joking around, and the reason, come to find out, the reason the brain surgeon was selling, the neurologist was selling his house, he had a malpractice suit against him, which we found out after the fact.
Tough.
So keep in mind, you've got a glorified used car salesman that's moved into this, you know, professional golfers and Greenville's elite, attorneys, doctors, you know, whatever. And I had an attorney on one side and another doctor on the other. And like, you know, I'd be standing out in my garage smoking a cigarette, you know, and they're just like, and they're like, what do you do? I make YouTube videos and I sell cars. And you know, and I was driving a big lifted Silverado back then, so I definitely stuck out in my sea of white BMWs there.
Yeah.
And you know, and that was, you know, but the thing that was crazy about it is I moved in, I never forget, I woke up one morning and I turned the TV on, I'm in the kitchen making a cup of coffee, and the news comes on. And it was talking about a brothel busted in an upstate neighborhood. It was my fucking neighborhood. The live news vans were literally 6 doors down from my house.
Oh, man.
I walk out in the driveway and you got, you know, Cody Alcorn with a mic.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know, I called my real estate agent up. I said, you know, you told me about the tennis court, you told me about the damn golf club, you told me about the clubhouse, you told me about the pool, you told me about all this prestige, and you told me about the golfers and the PGA and this bullshit. You never told me about the fuck whorehouse, Tyler.
Left it out.
Totally. You thinking I'm not down for something like that? I'm just saying.
He said you didn't ask.
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
like,
all right.
hey, what do you? I mean, you don't think I'm that guy? But anyway, you know, and I mean, I don't know what pissed me off more, that they were doing it or I didn't know about it, you know. And it was like. And then I started thinking about it as I was talking to a friend of mine, and matter of fact, it's my friend in North Carolina, and we were talking about it. He said, you ever feel like you just moved up to a better class of losers? And I'm like, you know, it's pretty bad. They didn't have a brothel in my old neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm saying.
You know, but you know, that was the thing. It's all of a sudden. I ended up selling that house. I moved to the lake, but brothels tend to bring property values down.
I would think, yeah.
So I wanted to get out of there before that shit kind of blew up. So anyway, you know, so I moved to the lake, but we laugh about that all the time, you know, and you know, you see, and I've so many experiences with that. And I think, like I said, back to the appeal of this, I'm just me, you know, I'm happy sitting in this shop looking at, you know, stanced out imports, you know, I'm just like a fat girl problem, just happy to be here.
I mean, literally, like I said, when we talked to you last time we came to the shop, it's like, you'd think like somebody like this, such high energy and that's so like out there, it's like this for the camera, as soon as the camera cuts off, he's just like, all right, fuck. I got that.
Enough of that
like,
shit.
He's just the same like this as he was, you know what I'm saying? He's the same way now as he was when we talked to him on the way in here, or when we went to the shop a couple months ago. Like, he's just the same dude.
Well, and that's the other side of that is, at the end of the day, you know, there's so much bullshit. YouTube, TV in general, all that stuff. It's a train, by the way.
Ah, I hear it.
Hey, that's the train. About that. Right on time. But, you know, that's the allure of it, you know. I mean, I get fans. I mean, you know, we get people come by the shop all the time, and I'll talk to them, and they're like, I can't believe you're talking to me. I'm a used car salesman. I get paid to talk. You know, I mean, but
I get that too. It's weird. Like, we're not even up to that like level like that. And I'll have some people, they'll DM me and they'll just be like, hey man, I appreciate what you guys are doing for the car community. And I'll immediately respond. I'll be like, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for saying that to me. And they'll respond back and be like, you responded? And I'm like, am I not supposed to?
But, and that's like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, and I'm like.
But you know, and you hear some of the most interesting stories and motivational stuff from some of these people. Some of the shit these people have been through, or what they're doing, you know, which is interesting. You know, if you're in business, any type of business is going to appeal to you. You know, seeing the workings of it and how they make money. And I mean, I love that. I mean, it's not just car sales. I mean, you know, like, I mean, we get people, landscapers, car detailers, I mean, just all this different stuff. You know, we had a guy that does like asphalt paving. Like, I was just interested, I've never dealt with asphalt paving. How's that work? You know, tell me about it. And he's like, you want to know? I'm like, yeah, I do.
So the next time somebody asks, I know.
but that's the thing, though. You're gaining knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'm that guy that knows a little bit about everything, it seems like, you know, and a lot about some bad things. But but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a cool thing, you know, as far as, I think that's a neat trait, and that also helps with the sales side of it, because no matter who your customer is, you know, no matter what they tell you, odds are you got a pretty good handle on what's going on, you know, or, hey, I got a buddy that does that, or hey, you know, whatever. So it's a lot of fun. I don't know, maybe I'm just a curious guy.
I mean, it works out too, because like the way business is nowadays, it's changed since, like, you know, back then. Like, I would probably say 30-40% of our business comes from Snapchat. And it's insane, because a couple years ago, Snapchat was just a thing for people to send back and forth to each other. Yeah. Now I get people, they set up appointments, they find us on Snap from us posting all of our builds and stuff.
Right, well, and the other thing about social media in general has changed all this. And it ain't just about my Facebook page. Anyway.
There was some hate behind that.
I didn't see you post on Facebook because it sucks. That's why.
Facebook does suck.
You always post on Instagram, yeah, because it works. And you know, it's like I sell a lot of cars on my Instagram story, and it drives the bottom feeders right here crazy. They're like, man, I took 37 pictures of this thing and I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and you know, I got all these people trying to cut me down, off me, you know, whatever for it. You should put it in your story, Mr. Cool, it just sells. I'm like,
make a story.
Sucks for you.
Yeah,
you know?
Make one.
You ever thought about starting Instagram?
Yeah,
instead of looking at your old ladies, you know? I mean,
it's crazy.
And I mean, it's not for just, you know, like, you know, model pics no more. It's for everything.
Oh, it's 100%.
But you know, in a lot of ways, though, I've always been that guy on the internet. You know, you know, what's the Chick-fil-A saying? Like, we didn't invent the chicken, we invented the chicken sandwich or something. I don't think I invented internet car sales, but when I started doing it, keep in mind, we were just in the high-speed days. Like, we got high speed last week days.
Oh man!
When I started selling cars online.
Pretty sure I was in like middle school eating Lunchables.
So I was the very first eBay Motors power seller. So that tells you how long ago this was. And I never forget when I went to work at Ford Place. They had an internet sales guy, and they're like, "Yeah, you ever thought about internet sales? Giving that a try?" I'm like, "Yeah, I probably need to give that a rest right now."
Yeah.
You know, like, let me just try like regular sales.
One thing at a time for
yeah. You don't want me working that for you. I got a rep anyway, but. You know, that was experience, and that built me. That's what made me who I am. I mean, everything. You know, I mean, I've learned what to do. I didn't have money to buy the capital to buy the car, so that's why I did what I did on eBay. And this is what built that up. And I mean, that's, you know, just like I'm sure you didn't start out in this big ass shop, you know, and that's, you know what I'm saying. You got to work your way up, and that struggle motivates people.
The struggle defines you, not what now is. Now is just this is the product of the struggle. Before, when you struggle, that's what makes you as a person. Because I didn't come from money either. We lived in a mobile home when I was younger. We didn't have a lot of money. I left when I was 18. We've covered all this in the YouTube before, and I was on my own, practically homeless for a while, because I didn't know what to do. I wasn't into cars like that, or I mean, I was in them, but I wasn't into like doing them like to this kind of caliber or anything. I had no direction. So once I figured it out, we started. I put my best foot forward and just did it. All that struggle, all those times of having no money, led to here, where we have the nice shop. We got the nice cars, the nice clients, whatever, and we're just continually working our way up, and we're just jumping into different avenues and doing different things and just making sure that we get our foot into everything. Because eventually one of those things is going to pay off. You can't just put all your eggs in one basket and hope that's going to do it.
Spread it all out.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, and that's something I stress to people all the time. Always have that fallback. Always have that next move, and that's something that I'm a big believer in. I mean, you got 24 hours a day just like everybody else. Yep. You got to make that time work for you, because none of us is promised another day. So you got to make that time work. I love to cut back, and I'll take off for a weekend. You got to pull away every once in a while. Got to take like a mental health day or two. But you got, people tells me all the time, must be nice. I hate that. I just want a backhand.
We get that a lot with just our cars. We drive the nice cars and stuff, and we get it a lot. And a lot of people don't realize you don't always have to be from here to here to here. You sometimes can make a lateral move to go here. Sometimes that jump is too far, so you go here, then there.
Look at football players. How many times they run straight?
Yeah, people don't understand that concept, and they'll come in and be like, must be nice. It is fucking nice. It is nice now, but it wasn't nice 2-3 years ago.
Well, and that's something that, in a lot of ways, people will take that negative energy and they will actually make that an excuse for themselves. Well, I'll never be able to do that. It's like, and it's like I stress to people, we do YouTube videos, and we talk about those home runs, those big sales, or, that wild deal where you sold 9 cars in one day, The thing they don't understand is, those are great, but those are far and few. These are years in the making, all these things are. And then, they don't understand that, I sold a car, I only made $500 on it. You did something that 98% of the world can't do. You sold a car and killed a penguin.
And killed a penguin.
But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But you done and made money off of it. You got to understand, what wins baseball games? Home runs? Every once in a while, and in the movies. But as a rule, base hits. Well, that's a base hit. Do enough of those, guess what? You just paid the rent.
Yep.
Do enough of those, guess what? You just bought your next flip. That's how you do it.
Baby steps.
And that people don't understand that. They don't want to do that. They want to go.
Yep. They want to jump from the next to the next and be there.
Yeah. Overnight success isn't what you think. It's like everybody, and it's like we were talking about the car dealers earlier. Either they love me or they hate me. And they think this all happened 2 years ago. And like Robert, anybody that knows, Kobe, any of my guys that will tell you, they will see what I did to get where I'm at. I started because I saw where this was headed, so I started working at it and making those steps and those little moves and doing all this stuff and putting myself in the right places at the right time, meeting the right people, and that's when it started to pay off. But they don't notice any of this. It's now, you got lucky. That's
the one downside of the internet, though, because obviously I'm not gonna post on the Instagram, like the Stance on Instagram, and be like, hey guys, we didn't do shit today, but happy Wednesday. Like, we're gonna post that we did a car. Right. But they don't see the days in between.
All they see is production. All they see is what you accomplish. And in a lot of ways, it's good because you're bragging, you're showing off what you did. But they think it's like every day is going to be that way.
Yeah. It's not always like that.
No. And people get discouraged. So it's a good and a bad with the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you look at like artists, right? You got the artists that they hit that one-hit wonder. They're famous for a good bit, and then they fall off and die. But then you have the big artists. They're okay song, trash, an all right song, a pretty good song, trash, and then they work their way up, and over the years they create a whole portfolio of big songs, and now they're big and they stay big. But the one-hit wonder guys that immediately just jumped up, don't make it.
I actually got shut down by a one-hit wonder guy.
Really?
So, a local music artist who's a Grammy award-winning music artist. And I'm not going to say his name. I was joking around, And this is back when I was doing radio. So everybody forgets that. I did radio for 5 years.
Yeah, we knew what it was.
But of course you do. You know what's going on.
Yeah,
I'm talking
I
about,
feel you.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. The struggle. And but anyway, so we were doing the radio show, and we were talking about this particular artist, and I said, "Oh, he's playing in Greenville, singing all his hit," and and he goes. So I got the nastiest email that led to a text because somebody gave me my number saying, "What's your Grammy look like?" And I'm like, "You got me, you got me, you
I
got me."
Play button.
Yeah. That ain't Grammy though.
Yeah, no,
that ain't Grammy.
Not the same.
That's not
Not
Grammy.
the same
but
at all.
but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was like, my bad.
Yeah.
It's a good one though.
You got to get humbled eventually, though. I mean, it is.
I bought it
is.
on iTunes. I'm sporting,
Yeah.
And but you know what I'm saying? Like it's but that's the funny is you get to meet some of these people, and they're just normal guys.
No, they really are.
You got some of them. I've made some of the best friends. YouTubers. Matter of fact, hell, Tavares.
Oh wow.
So Freddie texted me this morning, and he's just bought. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I don't care. Anyway, so Freddie bought a very, 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 very well-known car on the internet that might have been in a flood. I'll leave it at that. He just picked it up this morning. He sent me a picture of it. Get a load of this shit. I'm like, damn it, and we're going back and forth. I mean, like, and then you think about it. So I go into the new shop, and Robert's there, and Robert's like, "What'd you do today?" So I just talked to Freddie. He goes, "Freddie, Tavares, like I just talked to Luda, Ludacris, but but anyway, he goes, yeah. He showed me this new car bought. He said, "Do you realize how much different your life is than mine?" Or like Ed Bolian's like, "Rob, we need you to stop by the studio sometime." Or you get, Travis Bell, from VinWiki, and Celebrity Machines and Cannonball and all this stuff. Travis Bell texts me, he'll be like, "Rob, I'm looking for a Tyrannosaurus Rex statue." He said, "At least 10 feet tall." Random. But this is what he's looking for. He said, "You find one?" He said, "Nail it down, I need it." To piss his neighbors off.
That's insane.
To put in his backyard. Who has a go-kart track and a burnout pit in his backyard. Oh. Travis Bell's my fucking spirit animal.
Oh,
I love that
now
guy.
He's mine.
Yeah, Travis Bell is the best human being on this fucking earth. The end. I love him. But, and that's the thing, like, it's like the intro song to the channel, the new intro song to the channel, because, you got to use, like, SoundCloud or SoundSource or whatever, use non-copyrighted music or whatever.
Right.
So we were talking about that. We're trying to pick out, like, the perfect theme music for, because that's a big thing with your channel. When you start a channel, that it's like VinWiki. That
something catchy
that just instantly when they hear it, they know. But the trick is, if you can get it, anybody else can too with that stuff. So I'm thinking, and I was actually talking about this, and I'm like, I know a damn singer-songwriter. I shouldn't be having these problems.
Yeah.
So I pick up the phone and I call him, and he goes, "I'll write you a song." And he wrote a song, "How We Do It in the South." And literally it's like perfect. He'd be like, "Yeah," he said, "I could have pitched this one, but you can have it." And I'm like, and they performed it in the studio and all this stuff, and it's fucking badass. And and I mean, it's like you got that, like you got these connections, like these people who do things. It's like I built an Evil Knievel truck. Do you think I know the Knievels? No,
Yeah.
no, they're not. They're not. Do you know what's in here? Single moms and like friggin' my mom. And it's like, so I'm like, well, I want to build this Evil Knievel truck. Well, I feel like I need to, ask permission, to do something like this. And Travis Bell's like, well, I know Kelly Knievel. Let's call him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's. Oh, I was hoping you had his number. I lost it.
We had a summer last with them. Yeah, we'll call him up real quick.
We vacation together
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, easy.
He was just over at the house. And, I called him up, and I mean, he's like, fuck yeah, that's badass. And he knew who I was, which was even cooler. And I was like, yeah, I know, right?
Dang.
I mean, that's like childhood hero shit, But that's the thing that's cool, is these connections you make, or, it's so cool how the world seems to get smaller sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. And I love, because like these people, like I looked at them just like larger than life. And then now you see these people and you're like, these are my friends. Like this is, I love it. I have the best job in the world. I'll tell you, I say that constantly to people.
No, I tell people
I get
that
to
too.
play. I get to play with cool cars and bullshit with everybody. The end.
That's the job title right there.
Lots of coffee, lots of bullshit, lots of cars.
So I heard you mention VinWiki, and some of maybe my side of people may not know what that is. I know what that is. So what did you do for VinWiki?
So VinWiki, to tell you that story, I have to tell you another story.
Okay, carry on. Do what you gotta do.
So I had the radio show and Hot Rods and Happy Hour Radio, and it was an automotive basically an automotive podcast, but it was on FM radio, and then it was podcasting. And so we decided we were going to have calling guests. You know, and bring a calling guest, bring somebody fun in there once in a while. And we Googled, you know, just Googling different things, and what popped up on Speed Society, the very first thing I pulled up was a guy named Ed Bullion, who had just beat the record for the Cannonball Run, which is the race from New York to California.
Yeah.
Well, I'm reading this article. Lives in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, easy.
He's my fucking neighbor. We're going to call this guy. I literally sent him a message on Facebook, and he replied to it.
Oh, wow.
And said, hey, you know, trying to sound all official. I mean, I really didn't know what to say, but you know what I'm saying, doing all this stuff. He goes, yeah, I'd love to call in. This guy was just interviewed on the Today Show 2 weeks earlier.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, yeah, eat your heart out, Brian Gumble. And, you know, and so I'm interviewing this guy. And I watched the Today Show interview they did. And they're like, you know, they don't know cars. They're like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Yeah,
it's ludicrous what you guys do. Yeah. And I'm over here like, you know, so he asked you the dumbest question I ever heard in my life, Ed. He goes, what's that, Rob? And I said, he asked you, how does someone prepare for the Cannonball? Apparently, he's never been to Atlanta before.
Oh, yeah.
Driving, if you've ever been on 85 and 285, that's how you prepare for the Cannonball. That's literally the Cannonball in a nutshell. You know, just hold on and go. School buses run 90 miles an hour right through there.
God. And they don't care. They get off the engine and they just merge.
Blinker, you know, that's a warning shot. No, you don't get those.
Yeah.
But anyway, he laughed. He goes, I guess that makes sense. You know, and that's my Ed Bullion impression. But anyway, so Ed's like, Rob, you know, and I love radio because radio was so cool because like we'd have the coolest calling guests, but you would like talk for about 30 minutes on the phone, get them warmed up, and be like, let me bring you in, you know. Hey guys, this is Hot Rods and Happy Hour Radio, da-da-da-da. Yeah. And, you know, so you kind of form a little, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like talking to a girl on the phone, you know, like, you know, go from what's your favorite color to, you know, other things. And, but you see what I'm getting at, you know? And you're making a connection, this thing is what I'm looking for. So anyway, Ed's like, hey, I started a YouTube channel. He said it started to take off a little bit. And he goes, it's guys telling stories about cars. You know, just guys in different things in the car industry. And he said, I've got a few friends down. He said, I'd love to have you down. So I'll buy your lunch. He said, let's just sit down and just see what it looks like. So I'll be honest with you, I was a little busy, and me and Robert Pettit rode down to Atlanta, and we filmed that very first VinWiki video. VinWiki had 150,000 subs. Now they got like almost 2 million.
Yeah, they're
2 million something. But anyway, back then they had 150,000 subs. And I told that story, and he recorded it, and it was about being banned from eBay for life. And I've told the story 100 times. Be like, what? Like literally, to this day, as I was telling my merch guy, we're looking for a certain particular thing. And he goes, well, you got them on eBay. Well, you know, I ain't fucking buying it, you know? So I can only window shop there. Yeah. And so they don't let me. And so I told that story. And that was the very first story on VinWiki that hit 100,000 views in one day. And so that was, you know, Ed's like, we need to have you back, you know? Yeah. And so we got back, and then, you know, more stories, and then more things would happen. And I'll never forget, it almost like he created a monster, you know? So probably the third or fourth car I sold through RUC was a Camaro to a porn star. And I was literally texting Ed, and she told me what she did for a living, like, oh my God.
I have a story that we can talk about.
Heavy breathing, you know? And, you know, I sold a Camaro to a porn star. And then it just grew from there, and then it's like, right, yeah, we should launch a channel. So we did, and it took off. And then Netflix saw that. And they said, we love that rabbit character. I said, well, it's not really a character, it's me. And they said, well, you know, we shot a pilot, COVID killed it. And then they, you know, COVID calmed down, they pulled it out of the freezer, called me up and said, you ready to be a TV star? I said, "You damn straight."
That's awesome. And that premieres when? Next month, right?
Hopefully. I think it's gonna be last I heard it's gonna be end of February. So.
End of February. So okay, so next month sometime. Okay, cool. That'll be. What's it gonna be called?
Tex-Mex Muscle.
Tex-Mex Muscle.
It's a neat show. It's got the format's what drew me to it. You know, I mean, a lot of these car shows get a lot of like, you know, and this was a little different. I love the spin on it. It's nothing like you'd ever seen on Discovery or anything like that.
Okay.
And Netflix is just so fun to work with. I mean, like, I shot a pilot for Discovery years ago, and it was horrible. And it never took off, thank God. And, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of had a bad taste in my mouth from the TV stuff.
Like TV stuff, yeah.
And that's the reason I like YouTube. I can talk about what I want to talk about, you know, where, you know, if I want to talk about cars, if I want to talk about something motivational, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, and I like that, you know, where Netflix is like, so we're buying and selling cars. Do your thing. And I got to run with it, and I loved it, you know. And I mean, we had the same producer from Fast and Loud. Was the producer for my show.
Oh, perfect.
And I mean, you know, we got, you know, Emmy award-winning camera guys and stuff. Like, I got to hold an Emmy from one of the camera guys while I was there. Selfie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, check
That's
this out.
dope. That's dope.
Yeah, that's mine. And yeah, I got that. And you know, it's a little early, but you know, I'll show you. You know, but sneak peek. And anyway, so that's the thing, and it was so fun. I mean, we got to go into Mexico and buy cars in Mexico.
That's so cool.
And I mean, you know, and because of this, to go into the UK. You know, me and Freddie, we're in the UK. You know, with Sam Hard and Richard Rollins, and we were all there hosting this show, doing a meet and greet. And I'm just thinking to myself, sitting in the talent trailer in the back, and I'm thinking, like, I'm a used car salesman in Greenville, South Carolina, and I'm sitting here with a guy that I used to watch every Thursday night.
So was that your made it moment for you? Was that like your moment that you were like, okay?
I don't know if I ever had a made it moment.
Okay.
But a little surreal, like like he's standing there talking about his old lady, you know, and I'm like,
kind of one of those,
you know what I'm saying?
That was your pause moment. That was like your sit back and like reflect. For
like I'm sitting there, I'm thinking,
life moved fast,
like,
but this is.
We're gonna have dinner tonight with this guy, you know, like you know, like
that's nuts. Like you're having a personal
he follows me
conversation.
on Instagram now, you know. I mean, that's and it was, it's crazy that, and I still get fangirl over some of this stuff, you know, and I mean, I love it though because they're just normal guys too.
Yeah.
And it's like I have other YouTubers that follow me, and I'm like, holy shit, dude. And you're like, holy shit, look at you, you know? And I'm just like...
Sometimes I will even do that. Like, obviously, we're not on the same, like, level of that. But there's sometimes we'll sit back and, like...
You're so damn modest.
I'll forget... I know, but I'll sit back and I'll forget how, like, much we've grown. So people will share our stuff, or people will... somebody will comment on it and just say... It's like you were talking about earlier, some inspirational stuff or whatever. And I'll just sit there and I'll be like... Man, I kind of forget sometimes, like, how much we've grown in the past. And I feel like we're not on that same level, but I'll have these guys, and it's a little different, like, car scene fame, I guess you could say, like, people that are, like, just, like, famous in the car scene. They'll come up to us, and they'll talk to us, and they'll know who we are. And me, I'm just like, like, and they know my name, they know the shop, and they know them, and I'm starstruck, but I'm not trying to just be like, you know, like, so I'm just kind of talking to him, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. That, like,
be like, get a pic of this.
Yeah, to think that, like, now, like, a couple years ago, I'd see those guys, like, oh, that's that guy with that one car. Like, man, that's so cool. I wish I could be like him. And then now, like, we're all chopping it up in the same, you know, whatever, going out to eat together, hanging out at their houses, like, we go out of state. It's crazy. Like, it is wild to me.
And it's cool how the car community as a whole, you know, there's a few that I don't really care for, but
there's always that.
But you know what I'm saying? But there's also some that they're just good people. They're just good guys. And, you know, you got to think, you know, just you're making these connections along the way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like a spider web, you know, of you know, like how fast can, you know, or connections, or whatever you need, you pretty much can make happen at one point. Once you get to a certain point, you know.
It's like a mental Rolodex of just everybody you meet and just keep going and going and going.
And I mean, I love when fans come by the store and, like, we had a guy, matter of fact, so I'm having to park my car inside the building because of my personalized plate, banned for life. Which makes me giggle every time I think about that tag. Well, anyway, so you know, I park in front of the new shop, and we're working, we're not open, but people will stop by and be like, "Oh my God, you're here!" As I'm pulling up carpet, you know, or whatever. But you know, like I'm over here on the floor, like rolling up carpet, like, "What's up?" You know, Like, holy shit, you
Sweating.
know? They just have an Elvis moment, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm over here like, give me a hand, you know? And so, but we had, you know, so I'm having to pull inside and put the door down, put the car inside when I'm there. I even bought an S10 truck just to drive.
It's wild you say that. I literally saw like a little Instagram little reel thing the other day. It was about Mr. Beast, and like that dude's a pretty like humble guy for as big as he is. And he was saying how he's never been the guy to buy the crazy nice cars and stuff. He's just not into that, or the big house. He said he lived in a modest house for a while, but he said he realized why celebrities have to get a little bit of a nicer house for the security reasons. Because he said that he was just in like a little middle class home, got broken into, stole everything he owned. So he had to go get a little bit of a nicer house just for the security aspect of it. I didn't really think of it like that.
You get a lot of, and I haven't had a lot terribly weird ones, weird things happen like that. But like, so my house was like on a cul-de-sac in Greenville. And like, you would see people just drive by and slow down, and they knew, you know what I'm saying? And like, and I mean, it's just crazy because I mean, you can find out where somebody lives if you look hard enough, you know. And
but you never know their intentions because we have them do it here too. They'll come slowly, they'll circle. You never know if they're just like, damn, look at those nice cars, or like, damn, we should rob that dude. There's no in between.
There's
really no in between.
But yeah, that's something, you know, you got to be careful with that stuff. I tell you, the weird thing is, you know, I was at Chris told you got like a bunch of baked goods, which were sent to me, and I'm thinking, they look good.
Do I eat these though?
Yeah, I talk a lot of shit online. You know, like someone like, I'll show this motherfucker. You know, I'm like, here, you guys try these out. Yeah. If you're still living, I may give it a shot.
Let me know what they taste like.
Yeah. How you feeling? You okay? Tell me okay? Really good?
You try to give it like 10 more minutes and we'll check. We'll see after that. We'll talk later.
Anything like that? But but yeah, and I mean, and you get a lot of stuff like that, you know, and you know, matter of fact, I was at the Mall of Georgia last weekend. Don't ask me why. It's another story in itself.
It's all good.
Anyway, I was at the Mall of Georgia last weekend, and there's a guy comes up to me with his wife, dragging his wife like this. Come here, grab it. His wife has no fucking clue who I am.
You're just some dude.
And she says, just take a damn picture with him, please. And I mean, me and him stood there and talked for a little bit. Yeah. And I mean, it's super, and I love it. I do. You know, and you know, and it's, but that's the fun stuff, because you got to understand, you know, and this was explained to me a long time ago. You know, when you see somebody on TV, you know, insert TV name here, they're here. But when they watch you on YouTube and those type of platforms, you know, they're watching you on the break or sitting on the can or whatever. You're their getaway. And you share, you know, TV show, it's just like the glam reel, and it's all this. It don't really get heavy. Where on here, hell, I may talk about, you know, dating a chick that ended up being not nice, and or, you know, talking about a car deal that went south, or, you know, talking about, you know, my father passing away, or talking about something like that. They know you. They know my birthday. They know what, I got a pair of shoes. They know what size damn shoes I wear.
You get personal. You don't mean to sometimes, but you'll talk. People will remember.
And they connect with that, though. That's the thing. You have that connection with these people. So that's the thing you have to remember. Yeah, you know, it's kind of weird when a stranger walks up to you and wants, grown man, wants to take a selfie with you. But in the same token, these guys are why you're where you're at.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I love it. I mean, there's some of them that I've met that I'm close friends with. They were just random guys that just, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, in hearing some of the stories and some of the things, and just like, you know, thank you for this. You know, that one story or this one thing you said has stuck with me. And like, I love that. You know, and one in particular that I get a lot that people really comment about is my dad. Like I said, he had that high school football coach mentality. And my dad was one of those guys, he was not going to break his arm patting you on the back. Every car I ever sold, I was lucky. He was that guy. He would never tell me, thousands of cars later, I'm the luckiest son of a bitch alive, apparently, because that's all it was, luck.
Luck never ran out.
He said, are you going to play hell selling that one 10 minutes later? So you got lucky. You know what I'm saying? But that was my dad. And, you know, I know he loved me. I knew he knew I was decent at what I did, but that's just how he was wired. I went through a horrible divorce. My first divorce was horrible. And I was down the dumps. Like, it killed me. I mean, I was 25, and my dad, like I said, you know, walks up to me, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck's he gonna say? You know, told you so. No. Yeah. No, my dad put his arm around me. He said, I know it hurts. But he said, something you got to remember. He said, everybody's going to tell you got to be tough. You got to forgive and all that shit. And praying for you and we're thinking about you. But he said, I want to tell you something that's going to change your life. And my dad was not that guy. He was not a deep thinker guy. He goes, you got to be like a rubber ball. He said, the harder they slam you down, the faster you bounce back.
That's good advice.
And he said, just no matter what it is. He said, and I've used that so many times in life. Something, a downfall or whatever. Fuck them. We're going back. You know what I'm saying? You bounce back. No matter how bad it hurts, no matter, whatever. And something he said something about life, son. He said, the show always goes on. He goes, certain people pass away or not in your life anymore. That doesn't mean you stop. You keep going. He said, because the longer you sit, the more they hurt you, the more they win.
I like that.
And that was his philosophy with it, And I said, I've had more people that went through a divorce or the loss of a loved one or something bad, got fired from their job.
Yeah.
And they said, like literally that little, he said, I watched that, the rubber ball. And just, the harder
I'm
you get
going to remember
down.
that.
But that's that one
sentiment.
line. And it was just one of those random ass things that was told to me 20-some years ago. But now is, and I share that on YouTube. And now hundreds of thousands of people have heard that same thing. And I mean, and hundreds of people come to me and be like, I was going through a horrible divorce. And, I mean, I had guys that are talking about like literally thinking about suicide when I heard this. And I'm like, I mean, it's just crazy how one little thing can change the direction
of someone's life.
Yes.
I had a guy yesterday, not on the same type of that's that, but I had a guy yesterday. I posted. I was looking for something in my pictures yesterday, and I found a picture of one of my first cars that I built, my stance cars, and I posted it because I have a lot of people on my Snapchats and stuff like that have recently followed me in the past year or so. I get about 2,500 views per Snapchat that I post. So it's a good amount of people. And I posted it and I said, for a lot of you guys that don't know, this was one of the first cars I ever built. Random dude, like 2 hours later, he swiped up and he said, man, I remember seeing that car at all the car shows. He was like, that car is the reason why I bought an E36, which was the car. He said, I never knew that was you that drove that car. He's like, I always would just see it, but I never saw it. Like, I would see it there and then I would see it gone. Never knew who drove it. And he's like, that car is the one that got me into cars and got me to buy that exact chassis. And it's something minor, but that's still, to me, that's just like, man, I altered somebody's life by building a car. And that's just crazy.
And that's the cool thing about the collector car sales side of that too. You talk about things that bring people in the hobby. Just sold a truck yesterday. Couple moved down from New York, recently retired, and they moved to Greenville. He goes, I want to buy my dream vehicle. And I got this one cool old school Ford pickup truck. 50s truck, patina, hammered down, big wheels. And he goes, I love this thing. And I mean, he's from New York, and he's like, man, this thing's cool. I said, even our rust is cool down here, and he's just walking around and talking about how much you like Greenville and all this stuff. And I said, this is the thing you got to think about. And I said, so you never owned a collector car or an old car before? He said, nope, never in my life. He said, I just always wanted one. And I said, so this is the cool thing. I said, so you live in a nice neighborhood, nice new house, all that stuff? He said, yeah. He said, I love it. And I said, if you buy this, you're going to be the guy with the cool ass Ford truck.
In the neighborhood.
You're going to be that guy.
You're going to be that guy.
You could have the cure for cancer. Nobody's going to say anything about that. Be like, that's that guy with that Ford truck.
He's got the truck out there. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He just starts smiling. He goes, I want it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's the salesman in you, though.
But that's and that's the thing. I said, forever going to a gas station, every time you get out of it, everybody's going to have a brother or an uncle that had one just like it.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what
Damn, that thing's low.
Yeah.
Or
my son has a lower car just like that. They showed me like car and lowering springs and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like it's different. But you're like, oh yeah, that's cool.
That's sweet.
That's sweet.
But and there again, if they like it, I love it.
Oh yeah.
If it makes you happy and it's not breaking the law or whatever, killing you,
have at it.
Go at it, man. At the end of the day, but that's the thing that I love about selling. Those are my favorite ones. I've got some customers, I'm selling them their 100th old car. And then you got some, those first ones, I love like dragging them over to the dark side. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, financial security, that's overrated. Come over here and buy a car you totally don't need. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's something you can be working on for every day for the rest of your life. Yes.
Dumping more money into it.
Dumping more money into it. Hoo-ah. You know what I'm saying? Chew, we will laugh. But it is the truth. You know, I've never seen anybody that got into the car hobby that got out of it.
Yeah.
You know, they might have stepped back a little bit or
and
whatever.
if they did, they weren't truly in it. They
Exactly.
They were just there as a tourist.
Yeah, you know, forget that sucked, you know.
They were just a tourist in the car scene.
Well, you had a Challenger with decals on it, calm down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You're not really missed, you know.
You had a sticker charged V6 Challenger. You weren't exactly in the center
And you
of the
know
game.
as well as I do, in Greenville, South Carolina, there is a lot of those.
A lot of that.
And if that's what you like, though, that's no hate.
Hey, you know what?
But those are
You know
usually
what?
the ones.
At the end of the day, you know, this is what I tell all the guys with the Mopars. At the end of the day, you know, it's cool. We all play a role in this game of life. And I'm like, you know, you're important. You know, you got to think about it. You got your winners and you got the losers. You know, and I appreciate you. Because without you, I wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, I feel you.
See, bud. And this is
Have a
why.
good day.
And this is why I can't sell new Dodges. You know, with a straight face. When I worked at the Ford plant, and I'm not really the biggest Ford fan either. I'm kind of grew in. I'm turning into my dad.
Yeah.
I'm a diehard GM guy now. But it was funny. When I worked at the Ford place, I had a new Corvette, but they made me park in the back. and I remember like it was a 05 Vet, so it was the first C6, you know, C6s, and it had those door handles, the first door handles, like the little door handles, and they had problems with the first ones. And I remember taking it for like a recall or something because you had to hit it like 5 times to get the door open. And I remember taking it to the local Chevrolet dealership. I said, "You realize how many fucking Fords I got to sell to drive a car like this? We need to get this thing right, you know?"
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, like I was working at the Ford place and be like, "So Rob," and I sold, you know, F-150s were kind of my thing, you know. I always sold a bunch of those. And you know, we always had the demos that people drove, which I refused to drive, were out front, you know, sitting on the side. They're like, "Rob, what you driving?" So whatever F-150 I said, "That right there's mine." The green one, the red one, the white. Every day it was a different. Whoever's been like, "That old F-150 right there," you know, yeah. That's what I'm driving home.
The C6 is arguably, and this might be a hot take, but it's arguably the best looking Corvette that they ever made. I like the C5 or the C4, but the C6 body style, at least to me, I like it better than the new one.
I'll be honest with you. For a man that owns a C8, I don't care for them. I'm not. They're okay. They sell good. They're popular. Fun to look at.
It's like a cheaper supercar look.
Well, it is. You know, and it's a whole different angle. It's lost the Corvette vibe totally.
It has.
And I mean, and I'm not saying it's a bad, but it's not exactly. Yeah. And then you know, like, and I like C5, C6s, C7s. C7's a great car.
The C7 is like the second for me. It's like C6 and C7 right
Yeah,
there.
and I like C5s. It's like matter of fact, when I was in Texas filming, I actually ended up buying a C5 from a chick that took it from her husband in a divorce while I was down there. And it was just fun riding, just a clean, low-mile C5. And, you know, put my New Balances on and ride, you know? And
White socks.
Maroon tan inside. I mean, literally the quintessential old man at the car show.
Oh, yeah.
Burgundy bag chair in the back and all.
Every part of that car is open. Doors, hood,
Oh, yeah.
trunk,
Gas door.
gas
you know.
door. The whole thing is completely open.
Fuse
but
box.
stock.
Yeah.
I have all the original fuses in this car. It's all numbers
All the
matching.
paperwork. And this one's ultra rare
Yeah.
because it has, you know, whatever. But the, yes, definitely. They only make 13,000 this color. Wow.
We all know a guy like that.
Oh yeah.
Everyone knows a guy
But
like
yeah,
that.
I love vets. I love old vets. I love C3 vets. My first vet was a C3. I love C3s. Love C4s. You know,
C4s are cool. I like C4s.
C4s are cool in a shitty car way. Like they're my guilty pleasure car. Like you can't. I don't care if it's a ZR1 or if it's an '84 Crossfire or any of them in between. And I've had probably 30 in my life, and they were all shitty. Like I've had 150,000 mile ones. I've had 5,000 mile ones. I've had celebrity owned ones. I've had pace cars. I've had ZR1s. I've had, you know, anniversary editions. I've had whatevers, modded ones, stock ones, LT4s, collector's editions, whatever. Name it, I've had them. Shitty. They all squeak. They all pop. They all rattle. They're aggravating as hell to get into, but they're fun. They're like fun shit boxes. I had an '88 anniversary vet. And this was just last year. I bought, long story with that one, look it up on YouTube, we need the views. So it's but anyway, and I bought this car, and I mean, I paid $6,000 for this thing, and it's just because of what it was. And this is probably the biggest turd I've ever bought in my life. I bought side and side, I bought it with a credit card over the phone, because it was at this dealership, and I just wanted it, and I'm like, now. And I said, transport, pick it up. It was $6,000. I mean, $6,000. I got $1,000 sunglasses on. It was $6,000 for a car that run and drove. And this thing, now you see why when I got it. And it got there, and it's like the biggest piece of shit ever. But it was the same one that I looked at when I was 9 years old, when those anniversary events came out with my father in Tampa, Florida, at Abraham Chevrolet. It was the only one they sold. That car was sitting at a used car lot in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and we looked it up by VIN.
Oh, so it was the car.
The car. I sat in with my dad. Now keep in mind, my dad died shortly after that. And I got to take my dad for a ride in it, slinging around the parking lot. And the first words I was, don't kill me in this piece of shit. And,
that's sentimental though,
but,
man.
And the thing is, I kept it, for a while. And it was, I sold more Corvettes sitting on the hood of that piece of shit. But you know what though? That car, every time you bump the switch, it'd fire right up. Now the digital dash might come on, it might not. The radio sucked, the air didn't work.
But it was reliable.
It did. It would run.
It would run.
It would run and move.
It would move.
And the headlights flipped up right. They did work perfect.
As long as you got that.
That was the sexiest thing ever. Like a full rotation. Anybody could be like, No, we want a full revolution.
Yeah, like that, yeah.
You know, but anyway, so I get this vet. It's like a mystery because it's got white leather interior in them. And I mean, triple white wheels, white leather interior. I made 2,050 of them. That's cool. And this thing had like a mystery stain in the seat, I was like, yeah.
I love those.
Yeah, and it was just, but it was like a fun turd. And so I had a Rocky Ridge Silverado that was my daily then. And, I'll be honest with you, cars are made to sell. That's why I put all the damn lines on the back of a title, in my opinion. So I had somebody that wanted my Rocky Ridge way more than I did because I couldn't get them because of chip shortage, so I sold it. And, well, hell, I don't have a car to drive, So guess what? I'm driving the vet, and I'm driving an hour, 68 miles, driveway to driveway. And I drove that turd for like 3 months. I was dating a girl that lived in Tennessee. I drove to Tennessee. I drove it to Atlanta. That car I've never checked the oil in it. It never left me city. We took it up the mountains. I mean, just throwing that piece of shit in curves. And I mean, the thing is, like, if we barrel rolled it, I would take my fucking tag off the back of it and walk. But it was like, just torturing it. She said, I've never drove a Corvette before. That's about to change. Yeah. You're about to get let down. And, but and I mean, good. And it was in the car, like in the warehouse, we're always shuffling cars around, and we'd back that thing out and be like, I would literally fire it up cold, back it straight out, and just go do a burnout at it, and then pull it back in the building and turn it off. Just like it was that car that, like nobody. Most of my other cars, somebody touches one, I'm like, I'm over here just hop up on the hood up and be like, well, what you think? Oh, it's like we were doing a video with that car, and we were shooting with models back then. And she's like, "Well, I don't want to hurt it." I'm like, I stood on the hood of it. I'm like, "You're not gonna hurt it." It's got like feet prints on it. If you look close to the big, I'm just standing on it, like this.
Do it like this.
Yeah, like yeah.
Well, you heard it here first. If you want a super insanely reliable, kind of shitty but kind of reliable car, that's the one right there.
I sold it already though.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It went to Rhode Island.
But when you find another one.
But you know what's funny?
That's the one.
So I sold a Lightning truck to a guy, and I didn't have it for sale or anything. It was just it's my turd. You know what I mean? It was just I don't know. It's that car you tortured.
It was a shit car.
It was my shit car.
It was your shit car.
Like if I was going to do some shady shit, that's what I'm going to drive and do it in. Purple tint on the windows.
Oh yeah.
Oh everything. But anyway, so I was selling a Lightning to a customer in Rhode Island. Now I'm talking about a museum quality truck, like low miles, 93 Lightning, bright red. And he goes, man, I love it. I want that truck. And he goes, my fiance is going crazy over that Barbie Corvette in the background. I'm like, Barbie Corvette? He goes, the white one. I'm like, that piece of shit? And I literally said that. This man's bought a $40,000 truck for me. I'm like, that turd? And he goes, yes. He goes, what can you tell me about it? I said, I tell you what, I wouldn't think twice to get it and drive it to Rhode Island. But it's a giant hunk of shit past that. And he goes, how much you want for it? So I told him, he goes, yeah, I'll take that one too.
Oh.
And so they sent reliable carriers down, big enclosed carrier. And the straps they used to tie that Corvette down with cost more than the car. And it's like, it's so funny. See, I mean, like that Lightning, you totally understood that.
Yeah.
But you see that old Corvette, it's got like limbs hanging out from under it,
Spider webs and cobwebs and shit.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? But it's just that car. And I told John, I'm like, this dude's gonna cuss me out. Like, I'm ready to just send him his money back and be like, just donate that thing to something, And he gets it, and he goes, Lightning, I love it. He goes, I've been driving this Corvette every day for the last 2 weeks. He goes, I love this piece of shit. He said, I know exactly what you mean now.
He's like, it's great,
he said,
I get it.
And they cleaned it up, and they took it to Radwood and all this stuff, I mean, it's an 88 car, so it's like perfect, And he goes like, I love this thing. And they actually, because it's triple white, so they had a personalized plate for it. They put Bam Bam for that stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff. Yeah. Silences. And but anyway, but he called me up. Lightning. He said, love it. Yeah. He said, man, that's an awesome piece of shit.
Yeah.
He said, I've been driving every day. He said, like, I love this thing.
Sometimes it'd be like that though, man. Like the cars that you wouldn't expect that are just kind of the shit. Once you hop in, you're like, this is cool.
And it was fun. It's like one of those things, like, because it's your childhood, and all that. For me, for this guy was a younger guy. He's like your age, and but with money. And
yeah, no, you are not. It's like I told you the other day. He actually texted me yesterday. He said, "So what you thinking on that Ford?" I said, "Brother, I know you're not talking to me because I was like, you talking to me? I know that car's worth money. You all talking to the wrong one. Right now.
You got the wrong number, fool."
So you talking to the wrong one.
Try
right
again.
now, big dog.
So, but anyway, but that's the thing. Like this guy, I mean, it's not even in his generation of Corvette, but he's like, I love this thing, like, and it lives on, and it's still up there in Rhode Island, riding around. And he goes like, and it's so funny. He's got this dream car garage. I mean, it's gorgeous, and like you got, I mean, he's got like McLarens and like Shelby GT500, like new ones, and all this stuff, and that Lightning, which fits in just right with all this stuff. And that vet sitting up on the lift, like on a pedestal in there. He's like, and that's my baby.
Hey, that's how it be sometimes,
the car
man.
I was standing on top of.
My feet prints are still on the hood a little bit.
I mean, DMX style on top of it, But yes.
So all this has been insane. So what you've accomplished till this day, where do you see yourself? I left the last two big questions for last. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
If you would have told me 5 years ago I'd be doing what I'm doing now, I'd tell you you're crazy. So there's no telling. I might be incarcerated. I might be. There's no telling. I'll be honest with you. We were talking. I had me and a really good friend of mine was talking about that, and he's like, it's insane to see what you've accomplished. Like when it started, and he goes like, he said, where do you see it? And I'm like, there's no telling. I would have never thought in a million years I'd have already done what I did. Hell, I mean, just thinking what I've done in this past year, much less 5 years. I mean, there's no telling. You know what? At the end of the day, as long as I'm healthy and happy, I can make $1 or $2, I'm happy.
That's good. Enjoy what you have and don't take it for granted.
No, you got to enjoy it. That's the key. You got to be able to enjoy it. You got to stop and enjoy it sometimes.
Because that whole thing the other day with Ken Block, Ken Block he was the epitome of the car scene. I mean, he was
55.
Up there. Gone.
Out.
All the legacies. His legacy's still here. Let's not take that away from him. But like all of his, cars that he has now, everything he's built for right now, to him, it's gone because he just died. So the day before that, he was living his best life, snowboarding, snowmobiling, doing whatever. So realistically, you never know when you're gonna go out. So you might as well just take every day. Like that's what we do. I mean, we take every day with a grain of salt and we just do what we can to make the best out of that day and then move on to the next day because you never know. I mean, we've seen so many celebrities, not even just him, or just people in general that are in our lives that just die.
Yeah,
well, it just happens.
And that's, that's one of those things, that you can't, none of us was promised another day. And like we said that before, but the other side of that is nothing kills me more than somebody's like, I'm having a horrible day. Just a constant Debbie Downer guy. I want to shake the shit out of people like that. Every day you wake up, you get another chance to fuck it up. Is the way I look at it. So you take advantage of that opportunity. There's some days I don't want to get out of bed, but you know what? The rent ain't gonna pay itself. You got to take care of business. But try to have a little fun, laugh a little along the way. You never know. That one little word you might say to somebody could change everything.
Could change your life.
Exactly. So, but yes, I agree with you 100%. And where I'll be in 5 years, no fucking telling.
Probably up, though. Probably up.
Let's hope.
Incarcerated or up. One of the two, like you said. And then the second thing I was going to ask you was, so for, we've it's been 6-8 months, I think, since we've been doing the YouTube stuff. We've been trying to put out steady content. We've started the podcast and do stuff like that. So even outside of me, like for your kid that wants to be, let's say you, as an internet personality, as someone who
aim higher. That's the first thing that comes
better
to mind.
Goals.
Yeah.
But really,
you need some role models. That's what you need.
What would you say to these guys that want to get into the things that you do, that I just want to be what we do? What would be your advice to them to get started and to do that?
I get that one a good bit actually, and a lot of the young, and that's the thing. Is crazy is I don't have kids, or anything like that. But I mean, it's like I get these kids 16, 17. 18, I'm getting old. 16, 17, damn kids. Damn kids.
Listen, I can kind of say that too, because I'm 28, so that was 10 years ago.
28?
That was 10 years ago,
28?
so like I got a little bit of time on them. Yeah, I'm 28. God.
Children. 28.
A child.
28. Anyway.
Freshly 28, actually. New Year's Eve, I was 27, so 28 now. So it's been a couple days.
You're like 27 in like some days.
In some days, yeah.
You're like 2,700, 365 days, or 369 days, But anyway, so, fucking child. Anyway, I should have washed my mouth around you. I didn't realize you were on the phone. So, but no, I get a lot of these guys. And this is the thing. It's not an easy thing, but it's not a hard thing either. You got to be able to put the time in. You got to be able to work. And everybody's different. You got to find, you're not going to sell cars like I do. You're not going to, everybody's got their technique and their way.
They niche what they're good at.
And it's like in your area even, I mean, if we lived in fucking Alaska, selling fucking hot rods is probably not going to be the place to do it. You know what I mean? You better be, exactly, dealing with some of them damn snowmobiles, maybe some of them things with the dogs. What do you call those?
Sleds?
Yeah, I guess. What's it?
Mushes?
Toboggan?
No, toboggans.
Toboggans, that's
like
that's on your head.
Yeah, they're like this and the thing.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know what I'm saying. Mush. Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
One of them deals. Bobsled. No, that's the. Damn it.
I don't know.
But it's the thing.
The
basket
on
looking.
with the Huskies on them.
Whatever. So. But you know what I'm saying. So it might be different from where you're at. Maybe. Selling commercial vehicles or selling four-wheel drives or selling whatever. You know what I mean? So you got to find that niche. You got to look what's popular. You got to look at your area, your demographic. Another thing you got to think about is, getting your capital up to sell these kind of things. What you're going to do to work your way up to get to selling what you want. Naturally, I would love to sell, $30, $40, $50,000 cars. Like that. Well, you got to be able to buy $30, $40, $50,000 cars. That's the problem. So now we got to make these steps to get there. You got to have a strategy about it. And at the end of the day, if you don't succeed, don't beat yourself up. You got to understand, everybody fucks up. Every time I stepped up to plate, it was not a damn home run, I assure you. And, I've probably got it wrong way more times than I ever got it right. But the key is when you do make it right, make it count.
Yeah. That's fair. That's actually... Yeah, that's good. Because we get it a lot. Like I get it a lot. People hit me up and they ask me like, well, what did you do and how did you do this? And there's not really like an equation that's going to fit this guy or this guy. Just what I did, it worked for me. What you did is going to work for you. I never sold cars, so I have no idea if I would be good at selling cars or not. I have no idea. That wasn't my niche anyway. So I agree. Everybody has to find their own specific spot that not only fits them, but fits their area and fits everybody else, and it'll make it work for themselves. I think that's a good way to put it.
Love it.
That's a good way to put it. Well, I think that wraps it up. I know this was a super long one, but it was extremely funny. I think we all had a good time on that one. I don't know who we're going to have as the next guest coming up, but we will figure out somebody really cool. Rob's been amazing. We appreciate you coming and talking to us and making us laugh and all that stuff.
I love it, man. I love it. We're going to get you down to the news store.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to have to plug his stuff right here and put a couple of his stuff in there. If you guys want to check out our channel too, on Instagram, we have some of our merch still up for sale. If you guys want to check that out, it's Carolina Stance Shop. But yeah, we appreciate you guys coming, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.